everybody. Figured I'd give an update on the rebuild of the new car, but I really want to focus on these Racetech seats. So I had Racetech seats in the car before, and I had the 4200 series seat. This is their new 8119 seat. So this is the new full carbon seat. So you can see this is a full carbon containment seat. This whole seat, this is their wide and tall version. This whole seat weighs 13 pounds. So, which is pretty incredible. The 4200 series seat that I had in the car worked great. Had no problems with it, but it had some damage from fire here. So, just to the cover, the frame or the shell of the seat was fine, but I spoke with the people at Racetech and started a conversation with just trying to get new covers, and we got to talking, and the new requirement for NHRA requires a 7-point belt. After talking to them, we decided to upgrade the car to the new 8119s. So there's some features, there's not a lot of information about these seats out there, so I figured I would make this video just kind of dedicated to that. Not just this seat. I'm going to do a couple more videos when I get the other seats back with the new covers on them. I'm going to compare them to that. I'm also going to kind of compare them to a competing seat out there that a lot of people use. But I want to talk about this one first. So the 8119, this has got a really, like this halo here for the head restraint is very, very robust. A good bit stronger than the 4200 series seat that I had. It also wraps around the shoulders a good bit more. So the 4200 series seat kind of just stopped like here and kind of bowed out, give you a little bit more shoulder movement. But as far as containment goes, this is a better design. And there's a lot of features with this seat that are, a lot of the features that are in this seat are in their 4119 series, the 9119 series. This just happens to be their newest 8119, which is their lightest seat that they make, and also probably the most feature rich for driving or drag and drive or drag race, whatnot. So there's a couple of options with this thing that are pretty awesome. So the first thing, and one of the selling points for me, was we have to put 7-point belts in the car now because the NHRA has decided that we need to have 7 points in the car. So the 7 points actually like lay, let me zoom out here. Yeah, they kind of like lay in here. So they come from the back, and then you lay on them, and they come up around the crotch strap and hook here with the submarine belt here, right? And then your lap belts come through here and here, but the 7 points need to come from the back here. You sit on top of them, and then they wrap in between your legs like this. So a couple different companies make 7-point belts. Racetech has a 7-point belt, Simpson, Pro One, tons of different companies, but either way, they have to be installed properly in the seat. And this seat already having provisions for it was a big selling point for me because I really didn't want to take a grinder in the wrong spot to an expensive seat. So having it already done for you was nice. Plus, I like a nice finished look for something. So we drive this car on the road a lot, and I like comfort. I value my spine, I guess. So I like comfort, and these things are very, very comfortable. In fact, this series seat is a little bit more comfortable than the 4200 that I had. The padding here in the kidney area is a lot thicker, but it's still soft, so it'll allow you to slip in and kind of hold you a little bit tighter. The 4200 was a little bit more open through here. Not a big deal. The seat portion itself, like what you actually sit on, a little bit thicker than the 4200 that I had. They also make different height cushions for this. So like if you want to be sitting all the way down on the floor, they make a real thin cushion for it. And the cushions come in and out real easy. I only got one good arm, and this isn't one of them that I'm using. So you just peel them back and they're Velcroed in there. But there's already provisions for the 7 points back in here. We'll look at it from the back. It'll be easier to see. So this seat being ready for 7 points was a big deal for me. It also, here, let's see here. See if we can see it. There we go. So there's the slots already cut in the seats. it doesn't look like an unfinished job there. You know what I mean? It looks like it was actually planned. So the 7 points already being cut in the seat was a big deal for me. And it's also got a receptacle for air. So in my car, we're not going to be able to run the air with the receptacle that they have, but we're going to work on a 3D printed piece that comes off on a 90, because this is pretty close to the back bolt, the rear bulkhead of the car. So they Racetech sells a handful of different mounts for them too. So they bolt up here. Don't mind all this tape. Matt mounted them and he didn't want to scratch them. So thank you, Matt, for using a bunch of tape, because otherwise they'd all been scratched up. But they make a bolt-on bracket that bolts here and here, and then you can bolt them to the floor. Nice and easy. They make slide adapters for like newer cars, like a lot of the common cars. In fact, I think they make slide adapters for this car, but I don't think, yeah, the factory seat mounts are kind of gone in this one. So they wasn't gonna work with that. But they make a factory seat mount for it, for a bunch of newer cars. Just go on their website and check them out. But a lot of people gripe about the cost of a seat like this. And this is my view on it. Take it for what it's worth. You can go buy a cheap aluminum seat that'll fold up like a tin can if you get into an accident. It's a couple $100 and you spend a couple $100 more for a cushion or a pad, and the pad does nothing. They're unbearably uncomfortable. I had them, I know. I don't want to hear the arguments in the comments. They're uncomfortable. There's no amount of anything you're going to do in a tin can seat that's going to make it, something that you actually want to be in. The next thing is having head containment built into the seat is a big deal for me as well. Years ago, a guy I knew, I'm not going to call him a friend, but a guy I knew, actually passed away as a passenger in a car that had a 25.5 in it. And the cage bar is usually somewhere around here, around the driver. So even if you had head protection for the driver, the passenger doesn't have anything. So he's driving down the road and they get hit and his head hit the bar, and that's what killed him. So ever since then, the head containment has been a big deal for me. I'm a big advocate for safety, especially now how fast these cars are going. So anyway, back to what I was saying about costs, right? This is their highest end seat that they make. So this is not a relative argument for cost. But we'll talk about the 4200 seat that I had. The 4200 seat that I had in the car, I think retails somewhere in the neighborhood of like $1,800, right? It had built-in head containment. It was already set up for belts the proper way and easy to mount, the same exact mounting. So the here, and rear mounting back here, it's all built into it, okay? No more drilling holes through your cheap aluminum seat, and then, when you lean back, you feel a 3/8 head bolt up against your shoulders. It's all built into the seat. It's rigid. So the 4200 at $1,800, don't quote me on the exact price. They'll be on our website shortly because we're now a dealer for Racetech as well. I'm not trying to sell you a seat. I'm trying to explain to you why it's valuable to spend a couple extra bucks and buy a good quality seat. Anyway, all the mounting's built into it. You don't have to buy an additional pad. You have a seat that you can actually sit in for a couple of hours and you don't get out of the car feeling like your back is broken. So if you get into this thing and you're like, man, I really want a little bit more lumbar, they sell a little pad that goes in there for lumbar. If you want a little bit more cushion on the bottom, you can swap this out for a thicker cushion. They make them all different. There's tons of different options with these things. This is also the wide tall seat. So the wide tall seat is a little bit more money just because there's more material, more things to make about them. So if you're not my size, right? If like you're a normal person size, you can get away with maybe just a tall seat or just a wide seat and it saves you some money, or just a standard seat. This company, Racetech, is also the only company that I found that makes a good quality seat for somebody my size, which was pretty important to me because I didn't want to buy something that we weren't going to fit in. So, so you compare the cost of like the 4200, it was like $1,800. Say you spend $700 on the other brand aluminum seat with a pad, and then you have to ghetto rig some more bracketry to bolt it up. Let's just call that a wash. Now you have to go and buy head containment pads from like I'm not going to name companies because they're great companies and they make good products. I'm not talking bad about their products. I'm just saying that like you have to spend more money for head containment around the cage. If you don't understand what I'm saying, you do not want to be sitting in a cheap seat with all these bars right next to your head. So they make bolt-on pads that bolt to these cages, and you have to do a little bit of fabrication. They make a headrest that'll go back there. Some of them clamp on, some of them weld on, whatever, weld tabs on, and then they have like an aluminum plate, and they come in here and they block off this area here so that your head can't hit real hard against there or over there. I have a car here actually that has those pads in it, but I can't show you that car. So just know that there's pads that can be bolted in here. They typically cost you somewhere in the neighborhood of like $800. So do the math on this seat, not this exact seat, but a 4200 series seat at $1,800, or you got $700 into a cheap plastic or cheap aluminum seat with a crappy pad on it, and then another $700 into head containment just for here. And now you've got a cheap seat shoved into a cage that's got nice head pads on it, but you're still uncomfortable for $1,500. You're still going to feel those 3/8 bolts sticking through your back. You're still going to feel them through the little pad that you just bought. Dollar for dollar, it doesn't make sense to not look at the Racetech seats. It really doesn't. If you're building a new car, I highly recommend to buy one of these seats before you start building the car if you're going to use one of these seats, because they are bigger, right? Like as you can see, like this is a pretty wide seat. It fit in this car, but this car was built for these seats. So if you're building a chassis car, buy the seat first. Racetech also offers chassis jig or like seat jigs. They're really cool. Hopefully they're going to send one to Matt so that he can start building all the cars around Racetech seats. But it's a shell that's kind of like adjustable, so like you can kind of just set it in there and not worry about scratching up a seat. So you can get it mounted and proper clearances and the bars wrapped around them. So, in fact, I believe more race chassis. The guys who built Snot Rocket for Brett LaSalla, they've built a lot of cars. I believe that all of their pre-bent cage kits are built around this seat as well. So if you wanted to buy a pre-bent cage, look into the company that you're buying it from and see if they can build them around these seats, because it's worthwhile to use one of these seats. So I just wanted to kind of give you a quick rundown. I know it wasn't exactly quick, it's 13 minutes already, but I want to give you a quick rundown of Racetech seats. I've been using this style seat for years. I've been extremely happy with them. We caught them on fire and all it did was burn the cloth. It didn't burn the shell. And I'm probably going to turn the old seats into, I don't know what I'm going to do with the old seats. I don't know. We may turn one of them into like a chair that we bring to the racetrack so that people can sit in them and check them out, because they're actually extremely comfortable. So check out Racetech. Before you buy a new seat, look into them. There's reasons why you spend a couple extra bucks on this, and this is safety. To me, this is pretty important. So if you've ever had one of those cheap aluminum seats, the other thing you have to take into consideration is that if you bolt it up down here and bolt it up in the back here, you can still grab a hold of that thing and twist it like a friggin' can, dude. They're cheesy. Nothing against them. They have their place, but they just don't have their place in somebody who's trying to go 200 plus miles an hour in the quarter. It's just not right. Or, 200 plus mile an hour in the eighth. Don't put one of those seats in the car. Use something that's worth crap. So, okay. That was my TED Talk on Racetech seats. If you want the most baller seat that they have, which is these, this is the 8119. It is 13 pounds in the wide, tall version. When you pick it up, you almost feel like something's wrong because it's so light. Already cut for 7-point belts. If you want to buy their entry-level seat, the 4200, next step up would be the 4119. Then they go to the 9119. Then they go to the 8119. Numbers are a little off from what I would have done, but I'm sure it was just progression over the years with the company. So they're from New Zealand, but they are in stock in, I believe, Arizona. and we'll be a dealer, or we are a dealer for them. They'll be on our website here shortly, and let us know if we can help you at all with Racetech seats or their belts or their mounts or whatever you got going on. So, and if you are at any of the races that this car is at and you want to see them, you want to sit in them, stop by, let me know, and I'll let you hop in the car and check them out, because I believe that they're a valuable item to have in a car that you care about your life in. So there's that. All right, see you.